Hi, welcome to my video and welcome to week 3 of the Canadian coronavirus lockdown. Things seem to be okay for now, although for a little while there, I think it was a little difficult getting used to this new normal. We'd get up, have our chai, check our phones, really binge on the latest news, and sometimes that would really put us into a funk. Plus, Pranav is working from home, so I find myself having to share the space with him throughout the day. He works from our second bedroom. I like to hang laundry in the second bedroom, so we have figured some things out, and I'm going to share that with you in my next video. But today I'm going to share what we ate in lockdown last Friday. Here are some time markers for you if you would like to skip ahead, but I'm going to take you through breakfast, lunch, and dinner from last Friday. Grocery shopping has been a little bit challenging, but produce hasn't been hard to come by, so we've been enjoying the usual selection of fresh fruits and vegetables. But if you'd like to see more pantry-based meals, just let me know in the comments below. Let's get started with breakfast. Methi roti is something that we eat pretty often in our house, I would say. It uses fresh fenugreek leaves. You can also use frozen fenugreek or even dried fenugreek if you don't have fresh fenugreek. It's really not a big deal. You pretty much take a bunch of random things and then sort of combine them into a dough. So I'm starting with a little bit of besan or chickpea flour, the fresh fenugreek leaves, some grated ginger and garlic, and some finely chopped onion. I'm putting everything into my Ninja blender. It has a dough attachment, which I find really useful. And I'm going to add a couple of spices, some cumin, turmeric, a little bit of red chili powder, some coriander seeds, and I'm also going to add a little bit of salt into the dough. Next comes the whole wheat flour, or the atta, which forms the basis of the dough, really. And I'm going to keep a little bit on the side in case I need to add some more. But we're going to bring this together with a bit of water. And it's always a good idea to add that water sparingly at first, because atta and besan do not absorb water in the same way. Besan absorbs water very quickly and it becomes very soggy very quickly. So that's why I like to keep a little bit of extra atta or whole wheat flour on the side in case I need to adjust the texture of the dough. You're looking for a soft dough, but not something that's too wet or sticky. Whenever I come across really beautiful fenugreek, there are two things that I always want to make. One is methi roti, the other is aloo methi. I will link the recipe for aloo methi above, and even my other methi roti recipe, because I actually already made this on my channel, but I thought I would show you how I do it anyway in this video. That video is more detailed and I talk a bit more about the folding method that I'm using to make this roti, so if you want more detail, definitely check that out. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I have been spending a fair amount of time in jogging pants or sweats or my pajamas. In fact, these are my pajamas. I'm just wearing a hoodie on top because it was a bit chilly that day. All right, here's the roti. I'm going to cook this roti on the tawa or skillet until it's kind of golden brown in some spots and a little bit crispy here and there. You can add a touch of butter or oil as you're cooking this. It'll give it a really nice crisp texture in some spots. You can see the color is showing up really beautifully there. So this roti is done. My favorite way to enjoy this is with some plain yogurt on the side and a little bit of my mom-in-law's mango pickle. Gachar. This is like the golden combination for me. But if I had a little bit of coriander chutney, like dhania chutney, I would have enjoyed that too. But that's okay because this is still really delicious. This is Pranav's plate, so I delivered this to him in his office. The guest room, and the rest of this dough I was able to put away. I made enough that we could have breakfast another day, and this is my plate. I made my rotis in triangular shape just for a little bit of variety, but it's all the same thing. Sometimes I might watch some YouTube videos while eating. I'm really obsessed with Kitten Lady right now, or I might listen to my audiobook, or sometimes I just concentrate on my food and I just think my own thoughts while I'm eating. I always seem to have dried noodles, pasta, ramen, that kind of stuff at home. I just buy that generally. So I decided to make a bit of udon for lunch last Friday. I started out by infusing some vegetable oil with red chili flakes over medium-high heat. The udon itself comes in this vacuum sealed package, and you simply soak it in boiling water for about 10 minutes, strain it, and it's kind of halfway ready. So I poured the chili oil on top of the noodles, gave it a bit of a mix, and set that aside to work on my veggies. The veggies are some broccoli that I was trying to finish and that I had in my fridge from even before the lockdown started, and a box of button mushrooms that I requested and was lucky to receive in my grocery order from last week. Into that I added some garlic powder and a lot of freshly grated ginger. I really wanted this udon to have a gingery kick to it. Next is some Golden Mountain sauce. If you don't have this, just use a little bit of soy sauce. And I fished out this frozen chunk of tofu that was in the back of my fridge, and I cut that up and I put that in there as well. This is really a no-fuss kind of stir-fry udon. I have a much more sophisticated recipe similar to this on my channel, so I will link that above. If there's something that you don't have, just add what you do have. Use any stringy noodles or pasta, and use any veggies that you have in your fridge. I'm adding in some spinach leaves. I'm pulling off the stems of the sort of tougher leaves, but the smaller, younger leaves, I'm just adding them in whole. It's just my attempt to add some more veggies to this dish. If you're making something similar and you're also adding fresh spinach, I should probably mention that you can switch off the element, you can switch off your stove, because the spinach will wilt in the heat of the udon or in the heat of whatever it is that you're cooking. So you don't really need to keep the stove on at this point. This dish came out really well. We both enjoyed it. I did wish I had some Thai basil. I think that would have gone really beautifully in this. So if I ever get a chance to pick up some Thai basil, I would definitely try this again using that. This is Pranav's dish. He makes it a point to leave his office or leave the guest room for at least, 45 minutes or so in the middle of the day to eat lunch. I think that change of environment is really important. And we are structuring our days, our weekdays anyway, largely around meal times. But I'll go into more detail about that in my next video.
Lunchtime. Working hard, but also moving hardly.
This is gluten-free.
Really?
I mean, there's
Soba.
still carbs.
This is not soba, this is udon.
This is udon. Did you think when We leave our apartment once a day to go for a walk, and on that walk, we sometimes pass a teeny tiny grocery store. I like to visit it because I think they have excellent prices, and I was really lucky to get these 2 bags of sweet red peppers for just $2. That's $1 a bag. Can you believe it? I had the idea of making a roasted red pepper soup, and I was really surprised that these were actually seedless. What? Oh my gosh, there are no seeds in here. Holy crap. Like, I'm really impressed, but I'm also kind of freaked out a little bit. What? So once I got over the shock of these peppers not having seeds, which I don't know why that surprised me so much, but it really did for some reason, I thoroughly washed them and sliced them in half to prepare them for oven roasting. I then laid out the peppers on a sheet pan, and believe it or not, I have a very similar recipe for this on my channel already, but that is a roasted red pepper and tomato soup, so I will also link that. And here I am just dressing the peppers with a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper. I would also like to point out that I have changed my clothing. I am now wearing a clean t-shirt and new pants, which is an improvement over the pajama situation from before. The peppers are in the oven at 400 degrees. They're going to stay there for 15 minutes while we work on the rest of the soup. I am using butter in my soup, but of course if you're a vegan, you're going to want to use something else, maybe a vegan butter, becel, or just some oil, your favorite oil for cooking. Once the butter is melted or the oil is hot enough, you're going to add some sliced onion. The onions need to cook on medium-high for about 5 minutes, and then you can add some chopped garlic. You can also season with a little bit of black pepper and some red chili flakes. This is not going to make your soup spicy. It's just going to add a really nice flavor to it. You can turn that down to the lowest possible heat and just leave it while you check on the peppers. Hopefully your peppers look a little bit like this. Hopefully they've developed some really nice charred spots. You can flip them over, and we're actually going to put these back into the oven for an additional 10 minutes. Really maximize the roasty flavor of the peppers. And of course, before we add these into our soup, you want to make sure to remove the stems. I guess you could have done this before, you could have cut them off, but they pop off so easily once they're roasted. The onions have some really beautiful color on them as well. And now you can add the roasted peppers directly into the stock pot. Everything here is pretty much cooked, but I do want the flavors to come together really nicely. So in addition to the elements in our stock pot, I'm going to add a little bit of veggie soup base. You can add a bouillon cube, and also some water that's been recently boiled. I just add water from my kettle. I'm only adding enough to cover the peppers. I don't want to add too much. Then I'm going to turn this up, just bring it up to a boil, and allow everything to cook for an additional 10 minutes before blending it all together. You can blend this in a traditional upright blender. You'd have to let it cool off a little bit. I'm going to be using an immersion blender. I like using this because I don't have to wait for the soup to cool down, and I can do it in the same pot that I've been using the whole time. So for me, this is like one of my favorite gadgets. I really love it. And it does a great job. My soup is blended absolutely smoothly. So I'm going to just balance it a little bit. I'm going to adjust the salt, and I'm going to add a little bit of cream into the soup as well. You don't have to do this. If you would like a creamy texture and you're vegan, you can add some coconut cream or maybe some cashew cream would be a great choice. And that's it. This soup is done.
I love this soup. I like that it is texture-wise. It's very smooth, very velvety. I like the flavor and the way it's been balanced. I just like it.
Thanks so much for spending time with us, for watching this video. I hope that each of you is staying safe, staying well, and we'll see you really soon in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.